So this chapter we will start to discuss about the network security. So here is the outline present to you. First is about what's the network security. So it's like a definition, right? We have to understand what's the network security. And the second is about the principle of the cryptography, which means what's the cryptography in the security network. It's very important about the cryptography method and scheme. The third is about message integrity. How can we say the message integrity? Like we talk about the email, right? If we modify the email when you send to your boss, but somehow modify the email content, then the content change. So the result is different. So integrity, which means it should be the content cannot be changed. So it's very important. The other way is about the authentication. Because you know is this one you should be the understand who you are, and that's why the authentication is very also important. Then we talk about the security email. The security email, like I say, is like if we send the email, we have to make sure it's integrity. So that's why we have some scheme about the security email. Then we discuss the security in the TCP/IP connection. It's about the transport layer security. TLS, which means transport layer security. When securing the TCP connection, because TCP is an end-to-end protocol. So in the transport layer, then the security, how can it work? So we just talk about the TCP connection of the security. Based on the TCP end-to-end connection, then we will discuss the network layer security, IPsec. So it's somehow it's based on the IP network. So the IP connection, the networking layer, so it's a security on the IP protocol. Then we talk about the security wireless and the mobile network, because it's in wireless and mobile right now is a huge, right? Nowadays is in the 5G, then maybe in few years change to 6G. So the security in wireless and mobile network is very also significant important. Finally, we will talk about operational security, because in the network we have the maintenance. So it's the operation mechanism. So it's in the network we have the firewall and the IDS. That's all of the outline we have to discuss further. So what is the network security? We have to have some definition. So first definition is confidentiality. Confidentiality, which means the only center. The only center intended receiver. So the intended receiver should understand the message content, right? So only sender and the intended receiver should understand the message content. That's what it means, the confidentiality. So it's a very, only the key is who is only sender and only intended receiver. Then only the sender and only the intended receiver, both of them understand the message content. Otherwise, nobody understands. No. So sender would like to send to the receiver, but nobody can understand. So we should encrypt. So sender encrypt the message. And both the receiver should be decrypted. the message. So sender EN enhance the EN crypt the message, but the receiver DE decrypts the message. Is the highlight here. So if the combination you understand, then we talk about authentication. There's some concept, the sender and the receiver want to confirm the identity of each other, right? It's an identity. We should understand the sender and receiver need to confirm, not the others. Only the sender and the receiver understand who you are and confirm the identity of each other. The key point is identity of each other, but nobody can understand, right? And message integrity. We talk about the message integrity, which means the sender and receiver want to make sure the message not to order in transit or afterwards without detection. So point is altered. If somehow your message already altered, then the content should be the different. The change the meaning. So that's why we have the message not to order. So it's very important in transit or afterwards. The final is access and availability. Okay, the service must to be accessible and available to user. The service it should be very easy to accessible and available, which means when they want to use this service is also very easy. So it should be accessible and available to the user. It's also very convenient to the user and also keep the security. That's why the service can be successful. For example, we can see the friend and the enemies, right? Who is friend? Alice and Bob, they are the lover. It's a typical example. And Trudy is here. He wants to detect information. So the first Alice and Bob, the data sent from the Alice and to the Bob. The secure center, how can they secure? So the data from the Alice, the channel here, the data control the message. Data and control the message also over the channel. So if we don't have any encrypt anything, the Trudy will get this information to the Alice or to the Bob. So somehow information will be stolen from the Trudy. So we have because Bob and Alice, they are lover, they want to communicate securely. They don't want others to understand what they are talking. So it's really well known in network security world, right? Security about the Trudy intruder may intercept or delete or add some message, then the message is different. So Bob maybe misunderstand the Alice. That's why talk about the security about prevent the Trudy intercept or prevent to delete or prevent to add any message. Okay. So how can we do and the friends and the enemy about the Alice and Bob and Trudy? So point is, who might Bob and Alice be? Well, in real life, Bob and Alice, yes. And they will go to the web browser and the server for the electric transactions, like online purchase, right? It's very common use service. Mainly it's online banking, client to server, right? It's about the money. So nobody don't care any money will be lost. So money is very important about your security. Then about the domain name service, right? And then we will consider about the BGP routers, is changing the rule and the table update, and other examples. So where are the bad guys and the girls out there? How can be a bad guy do? Actually, answer is a lot. Because how the bad guy will event swaps means the intercept the message, and also the actively insert message into connection. If the inter message into connection, then message is changed. The third about the impersonation. Impersonation then can fake or spoof source and address in the packet. So any field in the packet, somehow maybe in the field, maybe the be changed, or maybe the fake, or maybe the spoofing source. So it should be some communication problem. And we also understand that really the hijacking, the takeover, the ongoing connection by removing sender or receiver, inserting himself in place. So the hijacking take over your connection or your resource and removing the sender or receiver, instead inserting the purpose, the hijacking in place. So he maybe can control and take over this system. Then finally talk about the denial of the service. It means prevent service from being used by others. So if the crash or the system or the overloading of the resource, then the service you cannot access. So the user cannot work in this service in the normal world. So for example, about the language of cryptography, how can we definition the system about the cryptography? For example, like Alice and Bob. Alice, they have the plain text, right? It's plain text. So everybody is very easy to understand the plain text. And Bob also understands the plain text. But somehow if we send from Alice to Bob, go through the plain text, then the truly will capture this information, the plain text. That's why the Alice should be the encryption key, the KA key of the Alice. A, which means Alice. The key of the B, which means the Bob, decryption, DE, decryption. A, Alice key of A, encryption, decryption of key Bob. So message should be the encrypt and the decrypt, then recover the plain text. So for example, we have a definition. M is plain text message. So if we encryption the algorithm use the KA, so it means the K over M encryption algorithm, the ciphertext. So the output change to the ciphertext. From the plain text to the ciphertext, go to the encryption algorithm using the KA. So the equation should change to the KA over M, the ciphertext, encrypted with the key AKA. So this output is KA over M in here. In here, the output is KA over M. So KA over M is from the encryption algorithm go to here. And this one already encrypted the text, so truly cannot understand the ciphertext because it's already cryptography. But how can we understand this the ciphertext? The only way will operation the decryption, the KB. So it's using the decryption algorithm from this K of M here, input is here. So K of N input here. The operating the KB decryption algorithm here. So KB of the K of the M is here. So K of N here, and the KB operating decryption algorithm here. Then output to the message M. Output to the message here. So Bob then can understand what is M. So M is the plain text message. So based on this mechanism, Trudy cannot understand the plain text because he only gets this information is ciphertext. In this scheme, we use the K and the KB prevent the Trudy understand the plain text. Only the Alice and the Bob understand the plain text. So we breaking the encryption scheme. We summarize some items. The following item, for example, like a ciphertext only attack. So Trudy has the ciphertext she can analyze. Yeah, something possibility, right? Even the Trudy got the ciphertext, but he can take a time. She can take a time to analyze this ciphertext. Somehow, maybe someday, he will understand the plain text, right? Two approaches, the brute force, it should be the search through the all keys, right? So if maybe lucky, maybe unlucky, but it search through all keys, maybe it just can hit the right answer. But you need to take analysis and take a resource. Then also maybe using a statistical analysis to understand the plain text. So two approach is brute force or statistical analysis. And the other way is the non-plain text attack. The Trudy has plain text. Trudy already has the plain text corresponding the ciphertext, so she can mapping from the plain text to the ciphertext. For example, like in the mono alpha beta, the Trudy determines the pairing for maybe the pairing understand. So he understands what's the pairing from the ciphertext to the plain text. Yeah, it's like a mono alpha beta cipher. Right? If he understands the rules, then he can understand from the ciphertext to the plain text. Finally, it's about the chosen plain text attack. Truly can get a ciphertext for the chosen plain text. So it's like an attack. So we can discuss the common usage method about the symmetric key of cryptography. What do you mean symmetric key cryptography? For example, like plain text and the plain text of B, bar, and Alice. So plain text of Alice using the key original is KA and original is KB. But it should be the text resource 2 keys. But if we use the common key, the symmetric key of the cryptography, we can use the same key like KS. KS, which means symmetric. So plaintext encryption algorithm, the ciphertext, the output KS over M. Then the KS over M, if we operating the decryption of algorithm, the KS of the KS of M, then decryption should be changed to the plaintext. So if we all use the KS encryption and the decryption, we call it a symmetric key crypto. So which means Bob and Alice share the same key, share the symmetric the key KA and the KB and equal to K. So key is known substitution pattern in mono-alphabetic substitution cipher. So we can save the resource, save to the one key. So how do Bob and Alice agree on the key value? It's a very simple encryption scheme, for example, like a substitution cipher. Substitution one thing for the other. It's like a mono-alphabetic cipher. What do you mean? It's a substitute one letter for the other. For example, like A changed to M, right? It's plaintext here. It's ABCD to XYZ. The A changed to M, B changed to N. It's a ciphertext. C changed to B. It's like encoding here. So it's a mapping table, like mapping table. So if we like a mapping table, for example, like bar, dot, bar, B, what does this mean in ciphertext? B is N, right? So B changes to N. Then O here, O changes to K, right? So it's a Bob. I love you, Alice. Then Bob changes to B here, change to N, so B change to N. Then I here, I change to S, right? Love you, love, L change to G, O change to K. Then B change to T. Then E change to C. So the ciphertext change to T. Then truly don't understand what does this mean because it doesn't mean anything, right? We don't understand what is ciphertext. But the table, the change, then we can understand from the ciphertext to the plaintext. Oh, it's part. I love you, Alice. based on this plain text to ciphertext table, is A changed to M, right? A changed to M. Then we can do this mapping. So encryption keys is mapping. So we have a mapping table. Is mapping from the set of 26 letter to the set of 26 letter. Then can understand what does this mean. What is the real mean from the ciphertext to the plain text in the simple encryption scheme. And the other more sophisticated encryption approach, for example, is a substitution change to substitution. Then the letter change to the other letter. And also can use the subsequence substitution the pattern in cycling pattern for the new plain text symbol. For example, like we defined the cycling pattern and unsubstitution the cipher to M1 to Mn. So the cycling pattern is N is 4. So M1, M3, M4, then M3, M2. So it's substitution to pattern of this sequence. For each the plain text symbol, we use substitution, subsequent the substitution pattern in cycling pattern. For example, like dog, right? Dog will change to M1. Right? Dog will change to M1. Then O we change to M3. Then G change to M4. Like this one. In original mode, A change to M, B change to N, C change to B. Then A right now change to M1, B change to M2, C change to M3, D change to M4, like this way. So dog change to, we simultaneously change to M1, M3, and M4 in these rules. So if we will understand, we need the encryption and the decryption. The decryption, the M1, M3, M4, this word, then change to the decryption to the dog. And dog also encryption, the dog substitution to M1, M3, M4 in ciphertext. So truly cannot understand what does this mean, M1, M3, M4. So encryption key, the N substitution, the cipher. And the cycling pattern. The cycling pattern, which means the M1, M3, M4, M3, M2, is this rule, like this one. So key means have to be just an N-bit pattern. It can be adjusted. Okay, it's like M3 or M5. Right. So very common and useful and symmetric the key crypto like DS. DS is very is the old standard. What does this mean? It's the data encryption standard. Actually, it's very old. It's from 1993. The US encryption standard is NIST standard 1993. Is the protocol is the 56-bit symmetric key. And the input of the plain text actually is 64-bit. So it's a change from the 64-bit plain text to the symmetric key 56 symmetric key. So the block cipher with the cipher block chaining is using the block cipher. So how skilled in DES? DES challenging because the key is a 56-bit symmetric key. So 56-bit key encryption, the phrase decrypto the brute force actually is less than 1 day. And it's a no good analytic attack. So we can make in the DES more secure. For example, because you can understand it's need 1 day, right? In less than 1 day. If we brute force need 1 day to decrypt this 60-bit key encryption phase. So maybe we can use the 3 DES. So encryption the 3 times with 3 different keys, then it's like a exponential encryption this key. So it's change to very secure, more secure, and we can decrypt this brute force to get this answer. The other very important now we use very common in mobile phone and router is AES. AES is meaning advanced encryption standard. Actually, it's also the same symmetric key in NIST standard. Replaced the DES in 2001. November. Actually, the processing data in 126 AB blocks. Now we use the 128 or the 192 or the 256 B key. All someone can use depending on the application. If we want to brute force the decryption, the key, try the key, each key. Actually, need taking 1 second for DES, for example, but need to take over very years, like 149 trillion years for AES. So it's very skewed compared to the DES, right? The DES, if we're taking 1 second on DES, but the AES need take 149 trillion years for AES. So it's very skewed about this encryption. If we want to decryption this using a brute force decryption method. So if we based on the AES, we can understand the public key cryptography can start. The public key graphy, the cryptography based on the symmetric key crypto. First about the required sender and the receiver should not share the secure key, right? Point is share the secure key. So question is how to agree on key in first place, particularly if never made. If never made, how can we share the key in the first place? So we use the public key crypto. Actually, it's a radically different approach in ISA 78 and the default Hellman 76. the sender and the receiver do not share the secret key. So the secret key you should keep. So public encryption key known to all. So sender and receiver all don't understand the public key. But private decryption key known only to the receiver. So you can use the public key and the private key to keep the list secure and the secret key. For example, what's the public key cryptography? In practice from the end encryption algorithm, the key from the Bob, the public key. So Bob sent to the public key to the Alice in the first place. Then using the Bob public key, then the Alice ciphertext the KB of the plus of the M, the using Bob public key. So Bob understands this key, right? It's from Bob sent to Alice. This public key. So decryption of the key of Bob, because Bob already understands this key, so can decryption this algorithm of the ciphertext. That's why Bob using the private key to decryption the public key, then can change to the plain text. So it's all the same to Bob to Alice first place, and also Alice sent to the ciphertext using the Bob public key. Then Bob using the private key to decryption the algorithm to the plain text. So you can understand Bob using the private key here. And the ciphertext is Bob using the public key sent to Alice. So the message plain text using the Bob public key, KB plus ON, then using the Bob private key, KB O minus, can get to the message text, plain text. So now, it's very useful using the public key cryptography revolution in the 2000 years old. Previous older symmetric key cryptography. The similar idea is merged at roughly the same time. Then actually it's independent in US and the UK classified. So it's a public key, the cryptography.